Want to know how my student, Sam, in just 8 months went from a miserable 9-to-5 job with $136 in his bank account to making over $16,000 a month? Keep watching. Can I really make good money from copywriting? How long does it take? When can I quit my 9-to-5 job? How do I get clients? How do I manage clients? How many clients do I need to succeed? And what exactly does it take for a brand spanking new, fresh out of the box copywriter to be successful in this field? Listen, I get questions like this all the time, and I get it. Starting anything new is terrifying, let alone starting a brand new career. And I remember feeling that same doubt, insecurity, and yes, imposter syndrome when I quit my 9-to-5. But guys, that was 10 years ago. So while I can offer you tips and advice based on my own experience, I realized that I might not have the real-time and relevant answers that you're looking for right now, which is exactly why I decided to interview 5 of my Copy Posse Launchpad OGs, graduates from my very first season of my flagship copywriting program. That way you could get real advice straight from copywriters who started their businesses from scratch in 2020. Now, up until now, this recording has been kept under lock and key, only available to my paying students and community members. But the Posse found this interview so helpful and so inspiring that I decided to release this private recording just for you. So today you'll be hearing Sam's amazing journey into the world of freelance copywriting. He is spilling all the beans on what the past year has been like for him, from before he joined the Copy Posse to what his life looks like today. And his pricing tips are seriously game-changing, so you better be ready to take some notes. Hey Posse, what's up? It's Alex. Give me a thumbs up below if you want to see more exclusive student interviews like this one. And if you're new to the crew, welcome. I put out a new copywriting and marketing video every single week. So if you want to learn more about the trends, tactics, and tools that are working today, go ahead and subscribe below, and don't forget to hit that bell to be notified when my next video goes live. Now, I am so excited for this interview because it is proof that despite the challenges, doubts, and fears that inevitably creep up anytime you're putting yourself out there and trying something new, if you are determined and surround yourself with the right people, success, freedom, and financial independence are absolutely achievable. We'll be starting off this 5-part video series with Sam's story. So in this interview, you'll hear about how he was able to quit his miserable job in 2020. Go from living in a shared dorm-style apartment with 5 complete strangers to getting his own flat in central London, having the freedom to jet off to the Canary Islands on a whim when the UK went into lockdown, and how he did it all in just 8 months thanks to his freelance copywriting business. Oh, and don't worry, he's also going to share exactly how he managed to scout new clients and earn big bucks. 16,000 of them to be exact. So here's the interview. So Sam, rewind, tell everyone what was going on for you about a year ago before 2020.
Sure. So about a year ago, I was probably in the worst situation I've pretty much ever been in my life. Again, referring back to the post that I made. I was living, so in London, you have these things called HMOs. So there's like a 3-bedroom apartment, and they divide it into 3, and each room is a separate bedroom for people. So my girlfriend and I were living in one of those rooms with a shared bathroom and a shared kitchen. And it was kind of a bit worse than living in a university dorm because, and this is me just getting deep and kind of real. I was thinking, do I say this information? But some of the guys that I was living with were actually, they would suck. And obviously, I don't know these people at all. They're just living in the same house. I don't know what
like,
my landlord did.
Often you think like flatmate, you think, oh, you're friends. But in London, it literally was because housing is so expensive. They take like a regular 3-bedroom flat and then they break it into 3 separate leases, and you end up literally sharing a space with complete strangers.
Exactly. So that's literally what it was. To make matters worse, we had a mouse that was running around inside the house. So imagine this, right? I'm awake a little bit past midnight sometimes, just hanging out with my girlfriends. And let's say one of us needs the toilet. We had a cockroach infestation in the toilet. So this was my situation. I had to take a toilet roll, a broom, just in case I see the mouse, which I saw it 7 out of 10 times. I'd walk inside the bathroom. I'd have a hygiene spray because these guys were very unhygienic. I don't need to go into detail, but I had to take a hygiene spray, my own toilet paper. And I would look on the walls, firstly for the mouse, then I'd look on the walls and I'd see cockroaches there, and it was just the worst situation probably in my life. On top of that, I worked a job that I hated. I earned peanuts, which is 1.7k pounds, which in dollars translates to less than $2,500. And considering rent prices in London, I was paying about £1,000 just for living in that room. You can imagine £1,000 for living in a room in London. That's how much it costs. And yeah, that was where I was at, and I was pretty much broken, but like I'm always somebody who has a bit of a fire inside them, and I knew I deserved better, and I just knew that this was a period of time that I had to go through. I would never ever change it, because that's what lit the fire under my bum, for lack of better words. And it was at this time where my girlfriend was watching Mad Men. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of it. It's a series called Mad Men, where they're all advertisers and copywriters and stuff like that. So she said to me, Sam, like, I think you'd be pretty good at this. And I looked at it, I'm like, oh, like what is this? And she's just kind of explaining what they do. Then, like Missy said, the god of algorithm, whatever you want to call it, made Alex's YouTube video after I typed in what is copywriting. Alex came up. Funny enough, she just started a YouTube channel. And I want to pause for a second and just say, every single person that's here in this group, it's like you're literally here for a reason. And I honestly believe that. You're not just here because you ran into it. Like, you're here for a reason, whether it's your end destination to be a copywriter or it's a stepping stone in your journey. It's probably one of the most important things that you'll learn, a skill like this. But yeah, that was my situation when I first started. That was probably the worst.
Yeah, chills. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, chills. Me too, you guys. My whole body is in chills. And I mean, man, when you say you have a fire, like, that is so true. And I mean, what's kind of crazy too is, like, looking back, I had no idea the situation you were in when you started Launchpad season 1. You know, you were on, you were on all the calls, and it's not like we got like super deep into like how shitty everything was, but it was after the program ended that we started chatting more, and you told me your story, and I was like, wait, what? Because I think the story that you shared before is, so how much money did you have in your bank account before and then after?
Sure. So when I was contemplating Alex's, when I was looking at Alex's sales page, I literally had £2,000 in my bank account. That's how much my net worth was, £2,000. But then I did a little calculation, right? I said, I'm saving about £300 per month, every month with this current job. And there seems to be very little prospect of growth. So I'm here and I'm doing a little calculation, like, I wonder how long it would take me to get 50,000 for a down payment on a house. And I think the calculation came up to like 10, 12 years.
No.
So I thought to myself, I'm like, man, like, I have £2,000 in my bank, and at this rate, it's not going to be much more anytime soon. So I was watching a Dan Locke video, and he talks about getting a high income skill. And Alex's high income skill just happened to come right in front of me at the time. And after reading her sales page, to be honest, that's what sold me. It was just a no-brainer. I read her sales page and I was just thought to myself, I'm like, damn, I need to write like that, because she sold me right on reading. And I don't read sales pages. Hers was one of the first sales pages that I read end to end. And right at the end, I bought her course at work. So I was literally on my desk. I pulled out my card. I'm like, what the hell are you doing, Sam? Paid the money, looked at my bank account, £100 left. I'm like, okay, I got to make this work, or I'm going to be in this room for a very, very long time. That was
amazing. And oh my gosh, like, thank you for like, the amount of, like, the fact that you spent like literally all your money on and putting your trust in me, like, it's like hard to even fathom, to be honest. And I'm so grateful that you did, because you guys know, everyone in the Launchpad knows, like, I almost get too invested, like, to the point where, like, I can't sleep at night sometimes because I'm thinking so much about you guys and your success, and making sure that none of you walk away from the program ever being like, what a waste, or that didn't help me in some way. And so, like, that's crazy. Like, so you had £100 in your bank account, and then you were the first person to get a client. And it was week 5 of the freaking program. We hadn't even gotten to the sales page module yet.
Yeah, so just to expand on that a little bit, I think it's a very blunt way to put it. I literally worked my ass off. Like, I got home from work at 6:30. That was literally the time I'd get home every day. I'd take a 10-minute breather, maybe cook something to eat if I was hungry, and I'd just turn my computer on and I would do the Copy Posse. I would attend the live classes. And then after that, I would just go out of my way and I would apply. Like Alex always talks about taking action. And for me, it was like, I kind of had to take action. Otherwise, you know, like I've got £100. Like that's it. Like I had to ask my mom for £50. I'll never forget. Like I called my mom. I said, Mom, I don't have money for groceries. I literally called her. She wired me £50, and that was my life. I had no social life. You know, I put on a lot of weight at that time, but I just knew like I had to sacrifice everything just to kind of make this work. And yeah, and funny enough, my first ever job was from Fiverr, my first ever copy job. And that copy job paid me about $100 for 1,000 variants of changed emails. And a lot of people, they're like, oh my God, like, what do I charge? What do I do? How do I do this? And I was just like, man, I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to try it. If I don't like it, I know I need to increase my price. So I tried it and I quit after I think 3 days, because my mom was having an eye operation and I was still sat there in the hospital with my laptop open writing. And I'm like, man, am I doing this for £100? Like, this is stupid. And then I sent the guy a message. I'm like, hey man, this just isn't working. Fast forward a little bit more. There was another guy that messaged me on Fiverr. And I was doing a lot of research on how to sell as well. My job was in sales, so I had a little bit of a background in it. But I ended up getting a guy who needed website copy. And initially, I think most people on Fiverr have a very lowball kind of price point. But the way I charged $1,000, that was the first £1,000 that I ever charged somebody on my own. And that was what completely changed my mind. I think the thing that I did was I asked him good questions. I said, how much do you make if one person clicks that call to action button on your website? And because he's a coder, he charged somewhere between £8,000 and £42,000. And at this point, I was still scared to charge anything over $1,000, but I just wanted to hit that 4-figure mark. So I was like, hey, I'll charge $1,000. And the way I justify it is if one person clicks that call to action button and they purchase your coding services, you've just 8x'd my ROI or 42x'd it, depending on which side of the spectrum you make a sale at. So that way I'm like, hey, like that's actually worth it. And that kind of changed my mind forever. When he wired me £1,000, I used Alex's bonus framework to write his whole sales page. I still use, like literally, I was writing copy today for an email, and I was using Alex's framework from the Copy Posse, because I was just like, I don't really know what to write here. And you're always going to get across moments like that. But Alex's course, funny enough, is something I still go back and refer to time and time again.
I love that. So, yeah. And I remember when you and I remember when you posted in the group, it was like week 5 and you're like, guys, I got a client, and everyone was like, what? like how? And so this is like a little, I think I already asked you about this, Sam, but if not, I'm forcing you into it now.
Yeah, sure.
You're cool to do a bonus masterclass for all season 2 launchpadders on social selling and how you were able to get all of those clients on Fiverr.
100%.
Because you are just brilliant at it and you have so much to share that I'm like, screw it, let's do a bonus together and we'll just do a masterclass, and everyone who joins season 2 will figure out when to do it, but you can share all of your amazing.
That's very humbling, and I'm honored to help you in any way I can. You literally changed my life, Alex, and I'll say that in front of everybody. Like just following your stuff. Like, I'm here in Tenerife. I quit my job this month. I'm free. Like I'm having different level of problems. Like, oh my God, like how do I create a company out of this? I've just spoken to an accountant. You're always gonna have stress in your life. It's just different levels of stress as you keep growing. And now my stress is like, how do I not go to jail?
How do I make sure I pay my taxes? Like, it's high quality problems, right? Like if you think about it, your first problem was like, I have £100 in my bank, and now you're like, hey Alex, I'm wondering if I could hire you for coaching on how to incorporate and up level, because my goal is to make at least £20,000 a month. And I'm like, that is what you call a high quality problem, my friend. And so real quick, because I know we're going over, but like honestly, I don't think anyone's mad about this. I think it's so valuable that just the wisdom you're sharing. It's like, so you finished the program, then you ended up, and again, like you don't have to go into too much detail on this, but you ended up reaching out to someone who is now one of your retainer clients, who has like 1 million followers on YouTube, and you reached out to him. He had no idea who you were. You mentioned that you took my program or something, and how did that whole thing work out?
Sure. So just to give a little bit of a brief, I reached out to a copywriter who was making 10K per month at the time because I wanted to revamp my sales process. Like, how do I sell to people? So he kind of taught me, and a lot of these methods I'll also be sharing in the bonus of kind of what was spoken to me, etc. But I did a cold email to a whole list of people. I'll go more into detail in the bonus, but yeah. So the prospect actually was Stephen James. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of Project Life Mastery. He's got like a 1 million plus YouTube subscribers. He sells courses on a bunch of different things. So I currently work for him at the moment. And yeah, so the way I came across it was I emailed him. He, funny enough, was actually semi-looking for a copywriter at that time. Not really looking, but he was very open to it.
Everyone, just a sidebar, every entrepreneur is always looking for a copywriter.
Absolutely.
They just don't want to filter through the junk applications they get. But if someone quality approaches them, everyone's always looking for a good copywriter. Sorry to interrupt you, but I wanted to share that.
No, absolutely. So then I basically, he asked me for some samples and stuff like that. So I sent over some of the stuff that I wrote from the Copy Posse launchpad. And then he decided to jump on a call. So we got on a call. To be honest, I didn't really use any sales techniques at all. I just went on and I just had a genuine conversation with him. I told him I was new. I told him that, hey, but there was always one thing. Every time I would say I'm new, I would follow it up, but I'm confident that I can do it. So I would always show that I can get it done. I didn't just say, hey, I'm new. Hey, I'm new. I'm not sure. It was like, hey, look, I'm new. I'm being honest. I don't have that much experience. However, you know, like Alex has spoken good words of me. I'm confident in my abilities and I'm definitely willing to give this my best crack. And I think I'll do great. So that confidence kind of made him give me a shot. When it came down to pricing, it was the first ever, well, I had no idea again, because I only had one benchmark, which was my previous client. And he wanted 6 emails initially written. So the way I framed it was, I'm like, hey, look, my aim is to work with you long term. I don't want to work with you on a short term basis. I'll let you decide on the price on this first project and just consider it done because I want to work with you. And I was just honest. And he came back and he said, hey, I'll give you $1,000 for 6 emails. And I was like, okay, that sounds pretty good. And yeah, that just became my rate. And it was like, I learned my rate from a client and he liked it so much that he basically hired me again. After 3 projects, I spoke to him about a retainer. And now I'm on retainer writing somewhere halfway across the world for all of these clients. And I say this just to kind of inspire you guys, but currently I'm earning anywhere between 8 to 12K. That's pounds per month. So that's, I think, 10 to 12, 13, 14,000 US dollars. I never knew I could make money like that at all. Because my whole thing was like, how do I make 6 figures? How do I make 6 figures? How do I go to the bathroom in peace? Like, do you know what I mean? Like that was my problems at some point.
Yeah, oh my
and
gosh, Sam, like,
it's just crazy.
I get so emotional thinking about it because it's like, if I wrote this in a headline from 1,000, or sorry, from 100 pounds to 12,000 pounds, I mean, how, like, no one would believe it. They would be like, that's all hype bullshit, right? So thank you for sharing your story. You have so much incredible wisdom to share with the group. I'm really excited to go deeper with you in that bonus for Launchpadders. And like, way to go, man. You've nailed it and you deserve every single ounce of success that you've gotten from it.
No, thank you so much, Alex. And honestly, my thank you to you is like indefinite, because it's just, you know, every day, like I live what you've allowed me to do. So I always tell you, I'm always on team Copy Posse, team Alex Catoni, and wherever I'm required to vouch for you, I will not, because it's one of those things that like, oh, it's my teachers, because no, like this thing really like changed my life. And it really did, like in a way I can't even explain or express. So yeah, thank you. And thank you guys as well, man.
All right, guys, if you enjoyed that video, make sure to check out the next one from me right here. And you can click right here to get a free gift. If you're still slinging a 5-page resume around like it's $19.99, please stop right there and watch this video, because ain't nobody got time or interest to download that attachment.